Hello everybody, I'm Matt Anderson and welcome to Daily Elevation. And our topic today is a question for you. What 3 accomplishments are you most proud of in your life? What 3 accomplishments are you most proud of in your life? Now, in all likelihood, the best thing you can do right this moment will be to click pause and to take a couple of minutes to think it through, because you may have, we're talking about decades to reflect on those 3 things, and there's nothing wrong with them going back to childhood. Although I'll be honest with you, I must say that never crossed my mind when I looked at mine. I was tending to think of my accomplishments as an adult. But anyway, the best thing is to pause, and I would say come back, think about it, and write some things down. And so I'm assuming that you're now coming back to me after having paused and thought this through a little bit. And the points I would like to make in terms of the value of this. Well, it's interesting. I have to speak personally on this topic. I mean, when I looked at this, I was surprised, very surprised by what I came up with, because what I expected to come up with were sort of 3 things that I would put on my bio, on my CV. And really, only one of those things would fit there, which was speaking at the $1 Million Roundtable, which had been a dream for many years that came true in 2010 for me, as really sort of more of an acknowledgement, a global acknowledgement as to what I'd accomplished from having been a school teacher in a small town in the central United States to speaking on a global international sales stage, when I originally come from someone that had no sales background whatsoever. So that's the only sort of formal accomplishment I put in that regard. Otherwise, for me, one was more of a general realization that all the work I've done since my early 20s has been designed to make a positive difference in the world, and it's all been done in different ways. But I was struck by really that was the common theme for me, common thread. And then the third thing was I put becoming a father, because for me, it was a big deal for many reasons. I mean, largely because I didn't do it until I was 46, and so I suppose for many years of my life I thought it would never happen. And yet I remember when I was 25 telling someone that I really wanted to become a father, and so yeah, a long time went by when I supposed I really doubted whether it could happen. So for me, that's something I'm really proud that I made it happen. So I'm only sharing those as examples. And you may well decide to put specific things that would fit very well on a bio. You may also choose to write down decisions that you made as to things that you're most proud of, because that took a lot of courage. So what I love about this, again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. What I love about it, though, is that it gets your brain to focus on the great, on what is great about you, what makes you feel great about things that you have accomplished. And I think this is incredibly important, and what I urge you to do is to then, as you look at that list, write down, what positive words, what positive character traits jump out at you about the person that it took to accomplish what you accomplished. And so that's what I want you to be thinking about harder, because again, this is part of who surely you want to be, frankly, on a daily basis, not on a 3 times a life basis. Who is that person? When you look at your list, what does this say about who you have been, and presumably a lot about who you are, and certainly maybe who you want to become more of? And I think that's really powerful. And so I honestly hadn't intended to share this, but why wouldn't I? I mean, I might as well. I mean, things I'm really proud of as I think about this. One, it says a lot for me about my drive, but also about my persistence. And I have to say, when I look back for where I started in life, I think it's really impressive that this Coventry kid has been able to do some of the things that I've done in terms of speak around the world and write a book that sold very well in the business world. That is not where I grew up. And then lastly, and perhaps maybe the most important thing on my list for me, is I wrote down I didn't abandon my dreams. And again, I'm not sharing any of this to boast. I'm simply wanting to be transparent about what's great about this exercise, and for you to reinforce this notion, I can do it. You've done it before, you can do it again. And really, again, this is the most useful part, I think, is what is this, who was this person, who am I now, and who do I want to be? And then, so as I conclude this topic, this LL means, what lesson did I learn most from this brief topic? What am I taking away in terms of a lesson, either presumably about yourself, or perhaps about something you want to do more of? And that's the next piece. So NSNH means, what's your next step then? What are you going to do next? Or what's your new habit? Because maybe what you wrote down is something that used to be a habit and it's no longer a habit and it really needs to become a habit again. And then the last question is whatever you decide to do as a result of this, who's going to hold you accountable for it? Who can you report to and say, please check back with me in a week or in 2 weeks, I wouldn't leave it much longer than that, and ask me this question. Follow up with me and check, did I do this, or am I now consistently doing that? And so that's what I want you to take away from this, in terms of it being useful for you, is, most importantly, as a result of this, what are you going to do next? And it might be, this is a dream of mine, or I love this specific accomplishment, I love doing that, how can I do it again? And you might say, what I need to do is start to map out a plan to work on this specific goal. And if you're interested in doing that, so if you want some ideas on that, ask me, and I'm happy to share blogs I've written on the topic that can help you get there. So that was today's topic. What 3 accomplishments are you most proud of? Matt Anderson, Daily Elevation. Look forward to joining you again on a future presentation.